When I was 11 years old, I started picking stocks, but I had the whole approach wrong. I thought stocks were just things that went up and down, and I became fascinated by watching those movements. I even charted them. I read books on technical analysis Edwards, and McGee was the classic at that time, hundreds of pages long, and I studied it again and again. I absorbed everything I could. For those first 8 years, I was convinced the key was predicting what a stock or the stock market would do. Then, when I was around 19 or 20, I read Ben Graham. That's when I realized I had been doing it completely the wrong way. The background didn't hurt me, but it forced me to rewire my thinking. After reading The Intelligent Investor, I never again bought a stock in the conventional sense. From that point on, I bought businesses that just happened to be publicly traded. I thought of myself as a business owner, not a stock trader. I didn't care if the price went up or down the next day, the next week, the next month, or even the next year. I had no idea what the stock market would do, but I did know how to evaluate businesses. I'm a reasonably bright guy, but more importantly, I'm deeply interested in what I do. I've devoted my whole life to it, and I've surrounded myself with people who bring out the best in me. The truth is, you don't need to be a genius in this game. If I'd gone into physics, I'd have been an also-ran. But in investing, intelligence beyond a certain point doesn't matter. You probably need 120 IQ points, but 170 won't help you anymore. In fact, it could hurt you. What really matters is orientation, not brain power. The problem is that about 90% of people, just a rough figure, approach stocks the wrong way. They buy something hoping it goes up next week. They see the market as something they want to rise, and if it falls, they feel miserable. I'm the opposite. I feel better when it goes down because I can buy more. I think about what a company will be worth in 10 or 20 years, not tomorrow. If prices drop, that just means I can add to my ownership at a discount. I try to stick to games where I know I can win. And whenever I want to do something, I want to do it big. That's why, at age 11, I put my entire net worth into City Service Preferred $114.75. Since that day, March 11th, 1942, I've never had less than 80% of my money invested in American business. You can call them stocks if you want, but I view them as pieces of American enterprise. I've always wanted to own American business. Sure, I also want a home and the things my family needs. But beyond that, extra possessions don't make me happier. Owning 5 homes won't increase my happiness. It'll just increase my problems. What actually makes me happiest is the work itself. There are 2 parts of it I especially enjoy. First, I know I'll win over time, not beat everyone else, but succeed because the game is simple if you've learned the right lessons. I'm not buying stocks. I'm buying pieces of companies, mostly American, and that gives me satisfaction. And second, I love being trusted by others. I'd rather invest with partners than sit alone in a room, even if that meant earning more money by myself. To me, the stock market is almost irrelevant. If it didn't exist and I had to buy businesses privately, like you buy a farm or an apartment building, that would be fine. The real question is, what can I do with my saved money so I feel confident I will get more back later? The timing doesn't matter. If I owned a farm, I wouldn't expect immediate returns. In fact, most people would be better investors if there were no stock market at all. Now, look at the U.S. economy. It's easy to see the progress in the numbers. A greater percentage of Americans today enjoy higher incomes than at any point in history. That doesn't mean everyone is wealthy, but relative to the past, more people have more. Mortgages are available at lower rates than ever. People live better today than John D. Rockefeller, the world's richest man when I was a child. Think about that. Rockefeller couldn't get the kind of medical care, education, entertainment, or transportation we all take for granted. In my lifetime alone, the improvements are astounding. If Rockefeller wanted to see a football game, he had to go in person. Today, I sit in front of a massive screen, watch replays, and hear experts explain every play. Nearly everyone has access to that kind of technology, a TV, an iPhone, or a computer. When I was born, dentists didn't even use Novocaine. The progress in America has been extraordinary. This country has achieved what no other has. Go back 3 lifetimes, less than 1% of the world's population lived here. They weren't working harder than others or inherently smarter. But today, this small slice of the world controls more than 20% of global wealth. That is unmatched. If you had told the founding fathers that their great-grandchildren will be flying in airplanes, watching global sports, and enjoying modern medicine, they'd have locked you up as insane. All of this progress, Edison's inventions, technological breakthroughs, belongs to society. If you compare what an hour of labor bought 100 years ago to what it buys now, it's astonishing. Capitalism, of course, requires a referee, and that's government. Government sets the rules, and it should. Over time, capitalism and government adjust to one another, and the system evolves. Money is nothing more than claimed checks on future output. If I wanted 50 yachts, I could buy them. But what does that really mean? Wealth ends up producing goods and services that benefit others. It isn't evil, it's just how the system works. And so far, America's system has been the best in the world. It keeps improving, and it will continue to improve 50 years from now. Why am I so certain? Because in my 91 years, I've never seen a period when I didn't believe that. Yes, we've had the Civil War, the Great Depression, pandemics, and setbacks. But overall, progress marched forward in government, in business, and most importantly, in people's lives. That's why I keep giving the same advice. Most people should simply buy an index fund, like the S&P 500. Jack Bogle was right. You don't know enough to pick the right companies, or the right countries, or the right industries. An index gives you ownership of American business as a whole, which is the smartest long-term bet you can make.